Hey, everybody, welcome again to Behind the Curtain, a podcast for real estate agents where we talk about all things real estate from behind the scenes, showing you what it's really like to be a top producing agent. And so today, once again, joined by Taylor Goldenthal of the Bridge Group, Cole Watkins, myself, Nicola Palamento, and a special guest today is Dante.
Yeah, so Dante and I, we met, I don't know,
Where did we
sometime
meet?
last year.
Yes, we did.
We went to lunch over at Joey's.
Joey's Uptown.
Yeah, Joey's Uptown, and we kind of got to know each other from there. But Dante, in the last 2 years, has closed over 115 deals, and probably more than that. But the thing was, I was like, well, how the hell did you do that? I have a team of 30 agents, and I'm like, I have never seen someone in their first 2 years close 115, 120 deals. So we got to talking, and we were talking about I think teams at that point at
Yes.
that lunch. But then we had dinner the other night, and everyone in that restaurant, and Gaucho's, right?
Yeah.
Every single person in that restaurant, not even with our party, came up and said hello to Dante. Like, Dante's like the godfather, right? Like, people are just coming up, shaking his hand. But I'm like, damn, like, Dante, how do you know all of these people? And he's like, dude, I network, and that's how I've sold all of these properties. So I was like, we have to get you on the podcast. We have to talk about networking, and there's so many different facets of networking, but the way that you do it is very, I would like to call informal, purposeful networking. Whereas you have formal networking, which is a BNI, which Nick can speak to, and then you have the more of the fun, informal, I don't know who I'm going to meet tonight, but they're going to be my next client type of networking, which is, I think, is what your superpower is, right? Let's go ahead and just kind of, talk to me. You did over 100 deals in 2 years. What does that look like? So we have 5 lead generation pillars. Like for us, so we do, open houses, we do networking, we do our database, we do, door knocking, circle prospecting, all expireds and terminateds. But, networking is oftentimes overlooked as just like hanging out. And it can be, but what does that look like to you? What does your primary lead gen source networking look like?
So when I started, it was with Keller Williams back in the day, and I saw all these agents like closing deals left to right, and I was young, and I was like, "How do you do it?" And they'll tell me like, "Oh, cold calling, cold calling." Keller Williams is known for cold calling.
Yeah.
Cold calling, meet people, open
I hate
houses.
cold calling. Yeah.
Emails are the worst because
Oh, really?
they treat you like spam. For me,
Okay,
they treat me
yeah.
like spam. Now that I get spam from them, I just literally send them the emoji middle finger because I'm so tired of that and I'm trying to log out of it. But the way I started was, it's not working for me. It's the emails, cold calls, nothing was working for me. 2 years ago, I was nobody. I just started real estate 2 years ago, so I didn't have a really backbone about anything, sales or anything. I was a club promoter though. I didn't know how to interact with people. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do to get more than just a percentage off a bottle? Like, what can I do? What can I do? And like, you know what? This guy comes up and he's a realtor and he shows a Rolex and he shows 2 girls with him, a nice car. I was like, wow. Like, all the guys who came in, they were like drug dealers and high-end people. And I was like, why can I do that? So long story short, I got into it and I started just calling the people that I knew.
Was that guy a realtor?
Yeah, he was a
Okay.
realtor. He was a realtor, and I forgot his name. It was so long ago, but I'm trying to find him. I'm trying to see who he was because he inspired me to be who I am today. But so I got into it, and I didn't know nothing, and emails wasn't working, calls wasn't working, nothing was working. So like, what can I do? So I went back to the basics. Back in the day when I was a promoter, when I was like 18, they used to give us flyers. Did you ever get that on Main Street when you used to walk around Main Street and they'll come to you and they'll give you a flyer?
Yeah.
Hey, come
or
to
I've had 'em put on
Copacabana.
my car, or something like that. Yeah.
They'll put them on the car, but most of the time, back in the day, they'll give you a flyer. It was from Shadow Bar, Copacabana, or anywhere on Main Street. And I've learned from that because I used to give them out all the time. So like, let me try that, see if it works. So I started getting my business cards. I see them on the floors here and there, but I changed that by not giving my gift card, my business card. I started just doing e-cards now.
Okay.
But more face-to-face kind of thing. So I started networking like that. Hey, if you don't want to buy right now, let me know if you know anybody who wants to buy, or maybe you in the future. Everybody wants to buy one day.
Yeah.
And that's never going to stop. So as soon as that happened, I started getting more referrals. I was like, well, wow, it does work, you know. While people were cold calling and doing emails, I was out there. I went to Galleria, shopping around the Gucci store, Louis Vuitton store, and I just, how do you say it? Talk to people about their shoes. Hey, nice shoes. And then they just started talking to me, and then I just started talking to them, and we started networking there. I was like, wow, it does work. So I started getting more numbers.
Walk me through. I think like Nick is like what the hell? Like what's going? But
showing interest in someone, right? And if you show interest in people, what do they do? They're naturally going to turn it back on you. After you can only talk about someone else for so long before they say, "Well, what do you do? What's up? What's your story?"
Right, but like I think that my thing is and I am like an extreme like introvert, right? Like introvert, I would never walk up to someone and just start talking to them, right? Because I don't want to talk to them. But like at the same time, you know, like walk me through what it looks like as far as you're going into a restaurant, right? You knew you're friends with clients, or your clients are the owners of Gauchos. Like,
yes.
Like, how do you meet these people? Like, you just walk into a restaurant, you go to the bar, you have a drink, and then someone's sitting next to you. I'm asking like I'm like for pickup lines. Of
course.
Like,
No.
You know,
so how do I get a
want
date?
to pick them up, right?
So the first thing I did is I look up the most expensive restaurants around my area, and that's what River Oaks. There's
because that's what you want to sell.
Exactly.
Okay.
I told that somebody before. I was like, do you want to sell? If you work at two dealerships, one's a Honda dealership and one's a Mercedes dealership. Do you want Honda money or do you want Mercedes money?
Yeah.
So like, I want Mercedes money. Let me try that. So I go to restaurants, the high end restaurants. And I sit down, get my waiter by the bar, and I'm like, hey, who's the owner? Is he here? He's like, yeah, he's right down over there. I'm like, can you give him a call? So they'll call him over, and I'll just chit-chat with him. I was like, hey, how did you start this? You know, I'm not even thinking about I'm just BSing.
That right there, exactly what you just said, was what our coach was talking to us about this week and last week, curiosity. And just like, how did you start this? How did you do that? And that's what you're reaching out to all these people saying, how did you get that $24 million deal?
Oh.
How did you, and so like you're like that curiosity is endearing and it brings them closer.
Exactly.
Which I think is like your
questions
one of your
is a great opener for a conversation. Yeah. Hey, where did you get those shoes? Hey, where did you get that shirt? Hey, I like your watch. Where did you get it? And then they just start talking to you. And naturally, for some reason, when you ask them, what do you do for a living? They'll return the question back. And when they do that, that's my cue to be like, okay, real estate, come on.
Done. So, shut the podcast down. Like that's it, man.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So as soon as they do that, and I'm like, oh, I do real estate. I'm not just trying to be spam. So I'm like, I do real estate, but I'm also working with investors, developers. If you ever want to invest, trust me, I'm the great guy for you, because they don't want to hear, oh, I'll sell your house, or this, because then you just sound like infomercials, and you don't want to be like that. So I tell them, how can I help you? That's the best thing you can do for them, because they don't want to be bombarded with questions about their house or anything. Like, how can I help you sell your house? Or if you know somebody, how can I help them? And sure enough, they'll tell me. So the guy that I met at the bar, the owner, I was like, so how'd you start it? And he told me his story. And when he told me his story, I was like, what the F am I doing here? Like, why haven't I done that? So his story was that he started working at Fuego de Chao as just a regular
owner of Gauchos. Okay.
Yeah, the owner of Gauchos was just a manager at Fuego de Chao. So very cool. He learned the system. He did everything. Apparently, another guy investor, his partner was like, look, if I open one, I want you to run it, and we're gonna make half and half. And boom, he opened up. He has three right now going.
Yeah. It's one in Katy.
Exactly. So now he's making like millions and millions off Gauchos, but it all started with him working at Fuego de Chao. So for me, it was like, oh wow, that's a great story. That's like a documentary ready to be to happen. So I was like, wow. So I go to that one. I went to Doris Metropolitan. Have you heard of that one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went there.
I know the GM. Yeah.
Nick ordered like ribs.
So I did the same thing.
A rack of lamb. You ordered lamb.
A rack of lamb.
Yeah, you ordered a rack of lamb. Like it is one of the few places in Houston that has dry aged steak. So I'm like, I'll take this dry age, and he's like, I'll take that dry age, and you're like, rack of lamb.
Hey,
It
man.
was the coolest presentation.
He said it was one of their specialties.
It
so
was
I
the
thought
coolest
I would try it.
presentation.
How was
They
it, though?
poured fire all
It was
over
Was
good.
it worth it?
It
Well,
wasn't
I'm
as
one
good
of
as the
those
dry
like
aged steak,
when I
it
go
was good.
somewhere to
Yeah, it
eat,
wasn't- yeah.
I ask them like what should I have because I don't want to just default to whatever I always see on the menu.
Yeah.
So I always try to either have the waiter or if I go to like Squabble, I'll sit at the bar and I'll ask them like just bring me stuff. Like I just want to try things I wouldn't normally order.
Ah, man, I'm so Hispanic. I look at the menu on the Google Maps, and I just look at the picture, and I'm like, I want this one. And it works, and it's so good. So, yeah.
The eyes know, right?
That's why all the Hispanic Mexican restaurants, it's just pictures.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
Cuco's?
Uh-huh.
Cuco's is all pictures.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I love the pictures because they help me out, and I'm like, you know what? I want this one.
Yeah.
If it's salad, never. I don't want
Dang,
no more.
that's awesome, man. So like the like you're inviting, and I think that the cool thing was just like you're looking for the conversations, right?
Of course, all the conversations I can get, I look for them. I look for more high-end people just because I want to be in that high-end luxury real estate.
Yeah.
Because I used to sell homes like 200,000, 300,000, and I'll make a really good commission, but it's so much work. Now, when I did my first $1 million listing or my first $1 million buyer, I did work, but at the end result, it's like if I would have just sold 3-5 houses. And I was like, man, game changer. So I started networking with high-end people. So Gaucho del Sol was one of them when I first talked to him, and I like to build relationships. And I go there all the time because they all know me now. So just like you saw me and I was sitting down, and they all came to see me. They'll say, hey, it's Dante. Hey, it's Dante. And every time I go, I make sure I tell them, hey, when you're ready, I always give them that little hint, like I'm still a realtor and I'm still here to help you.
Yeah.
Hey, when you're ready, let me know. I'm ready to get your house. And I know they're playing like, Dante, I don't want a house. But I don't care because I know when they're thinking about it, boom. If I tell you right now, give me a pizza brand, what's the first thing you're going to tell me brand-wise?
Domino's.
Brothers.
Okay.
And why is that?
Because it's the best.
Because you see that all the time in commercials. So when you do, just like you just thought about it because you see those commercials all the time. So that's what I try to do to people. I try to tell them, I do real estate. Let me find you a house. Let me get you a lease. Let me get you something. They're going to get tired of it, I understand. But when that time comes, who do you think they're going to think about?
You're top of mind.
Yeah.
Always.
So that's why I was, even they get annoyed, but you know.
That's one of the things that I try to train our agents is I try to explain repetition
Yeah,
builds familiarity, and then familiarity builds trust.
exactly.
So the more people see you on social media, the more you see the same
Of
person,
course.
the more you go to the same restaurant. So like I've been to Brothers Pizza off of Highway 6 so much, and my dad as well, that I haven't been there in maybe 6 months.
Okay.
And I went and the guy was like, "Hey, how's your dad?" Because I've been enough
Yeah.
that he recognized me, right? And so in the same way, like with real estate, we joke like you can't be a secret agent. Like if nobody knows that you do real estate, then
Exactly.
nobody will ever call you. And people think I'm just going to get my license and I automatically
Oh, man.
all my friends and family and everybody I know is going to call me, and then nobody calls ever. That doesn't happen. But if you are constantly in front of people, and every time they open their phone, oh, there's Taylor selling another house. Oh, there's Nick. He's doing another showing. He's at another listing. Then now I become the agent that they know because that repetition built that familiarity.
Another small secret that I do that helps me out so much so they won't switch me because I've done this so much that they ended up, I follow up the next week and they're like, oh, no, some other agent helped us out. And I was like, why? Like, I was right here with you. So what I do now is I find the smallest things for them. And like yesterday, I was showing a house to one of my lenders because he was just wanted to see it with me, walk around and have the feel of real estate, how we work. And it was a for sale by owner. And another car pulled up, and the guy came out. And he's like, "Hey, is this your house?" I was like, "No." No, it's not. I'm just showing my client here. And he's like, "Okay, do you know the owner?" And I lie. I'm sorry, but I lie. If they tell me, "Are you familiar with this area to list our house?" I'm like, I'm an expert. I live down the street. Even though I'll figure it out later.
Well, you can become an expert very quickly.
Exactly.
You know,
You
just
sit
using
down,
the MLS. Yeah.
MLS, or just walk around, drive around, talk to the best thing you can do is walk around, talk to the neighbors. Hey, they're about to do a Starbucks down the street. Hey, look, they're about to do a community pool here. Like anything like that would help you. So the guy, he's like, oh, okay, we can't see it today, but we can see it tomorrow. I'll schedule something with you. He said, okay, perfect. So I did. So the next following day, we follow up. I met him at the house, showing him around. His wife, he's like, can my wife come and see this? Like, yeah, of course. So he comes with the kids and the wife and all that stuff. And the kids come up to him, oh, happy birthday, Dad. And I was like, oh, wow, it's his birthday. oh my God, what can I do? What can I do? So I show him the house and all that stuff. And he's like, all right, I'll think about it. Okay, that's fine. I like, that's already know. Like, he's not going to think about it. So I download this app, and it's a virtual gift card app. So I send him $100 of Starbucks. And I was like, hey, happy birthday, man. Sorry for, taking up your day for your birthday. Just happy birthday. So then he messaged me back. He's like, man, thank you so much. I've never got anything from anybody. And as soon as that conversation happened, he sends me 3 more to go see the next day. So
you're his agent.
Exactly. Yeah. Boom.
That's awesome.
Kid you not, I have kids' toys in the back of my trunk. So I do
Could be suspicious.
No. So a lot of people when I show homes to families, they bring their kids, and they get rowdy, crazy. Yeah. But I go to my trunk, get a toy, and I give it to the kid, and they're like, oh my God, this guy just gave my kid a toy. Like, how much do we owe you? Like, no, you don't owe me nothing. I just want to make sure they're okay, and they look like they were bored, so I want to help them. So ever since I started doing stuff like that,
makes your job easier too.
Makes my job easier, but they even called me like, hey, this other agent wants to represent me, but I said no, because we're going to go with you no matter what. And I just keep going. Find the smallest things you can do so that they can see that you're really here to help them. Man,
I feel like we're getting a lot of cheat codes today. Just like enter this like circle, square, and you're winning. But I want Nick to talk to, because we're talking about networking, and there's different forms of networking. Really more of the purposeful, informal, but also the formal networking of what I like to. There's a lot of different formal networking groups, but let's just say BNI, Business Networking International. Like what does that look like, and how does that help your business as a real estate professional?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people can fall into the trap, and you guys have probably seen it, but people fall into the trap. They become an agent. And so then the first thing that they do is they start going to brunches and lunches and hanging out with other agents. And those people are typically not going to be a referral source for you. Now, if you're really good at networking and you can maybe network with people that are in a different area that might want to send you a referral because you work a different area than they do, sure. But a lot of agents just waste their time doing networking. It's not going to ever lead to anything.
Well, like I'm not going to refer you a piece of business if like my client's in Sugar Land, like I'm going to list it. Even Galveston. Like how far would it be away? And then most likely, if it was far enough away, they wouldn't be at that lunch.
Right. So I think if you, as an agent, if you can look for, like you're saying, essentially what you're doing is you're meeting new people all the time. Yes. And then the people that you do meet, you're staying top of mind with them, right? And so I think a formal networking, a way to make that work is to do something like a BNI where it's structured in such a way that it's very systematized. You go to the same time, same place every single week, but you're getting to get around business owners and other people who have businesses, right? But it's not just about the 40 people that are in that group, because for every person that's in that group, they know 100 other people. So you're tapping into now 40 times 100. That's just the top level of the people that they know. That doesn't include the people that those people know, right? So quickly, you can expand your network by thousands of people just by being in a group of 40 people every single week who are getting to hear you talk about what you do week in and week out. And then you do one-on-ones with those people. You look for ways to take them out to lunch, take them out to coffee, get to know them, get to know their family. Whenever their kid has a birthday, you send them a happy birthday wish. You follow them on social media. So now these other business owners who employ people and who have their clients are also now becoming marketers for you, because they're like, oh, one of my guys needs to be moving. I've got a realtor for you, right? And so I found a lot of success in BNI, and one of my great referral partners is actually an attorney. So she does family law. Well, anytime that somebody goes through a divorce, or anytime that there's kids are being split between two parents, or somebody passes away, that's a good opportunity for me to help them figure out what to do with properties that they own. So sometimes it's getting them out from under debt or a foreclosure. Sometimes it's getting them, if it's a divorce situation, helping both sides be able to find something else. But that relationship came from literally seeing the same attorney every single week, and then her getting to know who I am and how I work, and then letting me try something, seeing how good I did, and now I'm kind of like the only person that she'll refer anything to. And it's very lucrative. It's profitable. But there's so many things that can come from just finding, whether it's BNI or anything else, like finding people that you can get around and then try to frequently be around them, right? Frequently talking.
Not just call them every now.
Yeah, it's not a like, hey, I'm Nick. Remember me? I'm a realtor.
Just to
But,
let you know,
yeah,
I'm gonna call me when you're ready.
Instead, it's like, hey, let's go grab lunch.
Exactly.
And then when you go have lunch and you sit down, you're like, how's the kids? How's the wife? Oh yeah, you bought a new commercial property, last year. How is it? You still like it? You looking to upgrade? Are you looking to move somewhere else? Where's your business going? How can I help you with that? And then that endears people way more to you than just like, hey, I'm a realtor, call me. Or the social media post, like, remember, I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares
If
about
you got to
that.
remind someone that you're a realtor, like you're not doing something right. But I think that the formal networking, side of things is like a huge benefit is if you get into a group like that. Let's just say your group has like what 46.
We're at 45. Yeah.
45 people into it, you get accepted into it. Now you have 45 additional contacts to throw into your database. So I know, like at our client appreciation parties, like a lot of them are there.
Yeah.
And at our Heights business socials, things like that, they come and they participate. Now we have free drinks, but at the same time, like they're there and we get to know each other, outside of the networking group. So no, I think it's good. Let's marry kind of not the two of them, but what we do networking wise with social media. One of the things that my wife is really good at is networking with other agents within the Tom Ferry referral network. So Tom Ferry has like 5,000, 6,000 agents all over the United States. So when we go to these functions, she's meeting, greeting, having drinks with all of these other agents. She'll even throw parties outside of the event to invite all these agents to, so that we can network and then send referrals back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, she has a once a month email blast that goes out to all of these agents that she's created a database. She friends them. And what our coach was telling us, he was like, hey, at this next one in Vegas, I want you to be taking selfies with every single one of these agents and getting their Instagram. We're on Instagram way more than we're on our emails. Man. And so they're constantly seeing you every single day and knowing that you're busy, you're selling real estate, and this is who their clients are going to be referred to. So I think that there's a networking aspect constantly going on with social media. I know that, Taylor has done a ton of transactions through social media, but you've kind of networked through social media.
Yeah, it's a great tool to stay top of mind at the end of the day. So like whether it's, so I grew up in Houston, I think all of us did, staying top of mind with people that I hadn't even seen since high school over 12 years ago at this point, and just always keeping in contact with each other. It's building that familiarity. So it could be 5, 6, 10 years that go by before you see each other face to face, but you know what they look like, you know what they have going on, you're familiar with what they're doing. And same goes with past clients as well. Once I'm good through a good portion of the transaction and I know things are going well, I'm finding you on Instagram, I'm finding you on Facebook, I'm going to be your friend on those platforms, because other than social media and my weekly database email and a quarterly client pop by, you are now a member of my sphere of influence. And everyone knows it is easiest to sell to your sphere of influence because you already have that rapport, you already have that trust.
Most likely they're already fans.
They're already fans, exactly. And you found some common ground other than just the I helped you buy or sell property.
Yeah.
We like each other at this point. So I think social media can be a great tool for networking in that sense of staying top of mind and turning people from just prospects or clients into legitimate friends and that relationship, that sphere of influence.
So most of my leads also come from social media. So you've seen the videos I post on social media. So I had one of my Dayton, Texas properties that I posted, and this guy hit me up from California. He's like, hey, that's a nice property. I'm going to fly in. Can I look at it? And I was like, okay, weirdo. Fly in and look at it. Like,
to look at that
I didn't
property,
believe him because he's like, you're going to fly in from California. Like, this is Texas. It's not California. Like, we're broke over here. You guys are rich over there. So he comes, he sees it. He's like, I don't like it. And I was like, all right, well, thanks for coming, man. Yeah, And I kept posting. I added the guy on Instagram and everything. And then I posted it. Not even my listing. It was somebody else's listing. And I posted, and it was a $950,000 home. And he's like, oh, my God, I love that home. Can I fly again and come see the property? Like, yeah, come on. So he comes by. We see the property. He likes it and puts a cash offer. And I was like, oh, really? The cash offer. So it took me 2 weeks to close, and I made a really good commission on that.
Yeah.
Time. So it's like off Instagram. So it's like, oh my God, like this is real. So I just kept posting and posting, and sure enough, like people started hitting me up, like, "Hey, I love your home. I don't like that one, but do you have more?" Yes, I do. Here you go.
How much time did it take from the time that you really started regularly posting on Instagram or social media until you got your first social media like blind lead? Like that guy wasn't your friend. He
He
just saw
wasn't.
it
He just
off
saw
of.
that.
Like how long did that take? Because I think a lot of times the misconception is like what Nick said before is people get their real estate license and they're like, oh, like, well, I have 5,000 people that are friends of mine on Instagram. They're all going to buy and sell
Yeah.
with me, but that's not the case. It took me a very, very long time. Now I didn't do it right, and I didn't post regularly, but I didn't post very good content. But at the same time, like once I was posting enough and kind of figured that game out, it was a while. It was probably like 2 years for me before I got like a lead from Facebook or Instagram.
So before, like I said, before this, I was.
You're about to feel real bad, by the way.
So before this, I was a club promoter. So they made us post every single 5 minutes. Come to the club, bottle service, blah blah blah, and I would start seeing my followers go down. I was like, oh man. So then I stopped that. People don't want to see your commercial. People want to see something else. So I start being more myself. I started posting about my clothes, about my fashion, about my family, me going out to the clubs, me partying, drinking, whatever, being me. My social media was me now.
Yeah.
So I started posting a little bit more stories of homes, like those reels you see on
Yeah.
social media, the nice ones. You're like, oh my God, it's a beautiful home, stuff like that. So it's an app that I just downloaded, and you get to copy somebody else's stuff and then make it your name and everything. So I do that, and now that I post stuff like that, it took me literally like 5 days.
After you post,
After
after you started posting,
I started posting all those videos, 5 days, and I started like nonstop buyers and leads, and I was like, oh my God, this is real. So
And what are your videos typically?
it's just like Texas homes, because if I post anything out of like California or anything, the people are like, oh, it's not even here, you liar. And I don't want to be that guy. So I posted like really good videos from all Texas, like homes, and just the inside of the home, how nice it was.
And these are
Normally-
not your videos.
Not my videos.
Okay.
Normally, like I said, I want to be in that high end luxury part. So I go to like Memorial, what's that called?
Yeah, River Oaks.
River Oaks, like those nice properties for like $20 million.
yeah.
So I just take the inside and the outside, and I just posted, hey, look at this listing. It could be yours, and they're just like, oh my God, that's a beautiful home. We're not ready for that. So I was like, perfect. I like that question because I like to follow up with those questions. So what do you want? And boom, I'm looking for a 4-bedroom. Oh, perfect. I got some in my pocket. Let me just go see what I can find you. What is your criteria? And they'll tell me and all that stuff. Do you even have a lender yet? He's like, no. Can you help me with that? Sure. And I give him, and I just situate him with that, and boom, that's my first. My next lead. 5 days.
Yeah. And that's what I found is that like posting those, I think one of our best videos ever that we got quite a bit of business from was what $1 million gets you in the suburbs and what $1 million gets you in town. And so we showed those two, very different properties, but we actually had conversions on transactions, but the thing is they weren't $1 million. Like they were beautiful properties that people got to see a stark contrast in square footage and things like that and style, but people said they opened up with their I desire a house to that, and it was maybe $400,000-$500,000 house, but at the same time it brought in business.
Exactly.
So
another thing I would want to add in there is the people you follow. Because I can follow 20, 30, they can follow me, but they're all like from out of state, or they're young and they're not looking for a house. So what I started doing now is I look up the most expensive places. There's the restaurants, there's those bars that crew bar, or okay, so all that stuff. I started going on their Instagram page, and I start following everybody that I see that has been in
that's enjoying that
location. And I look at their Instagram and I look at their stories. Okay. Oh, he has a Ferrari. Or he has a Mercedes. Or he has an AMG G-Wagon. Oh, okay. Add. And I just start adding. And one time, one guy added me back, and I was like, oh, shit. this works. So play cool. Let's see what happens. I was like, hey, thanks for the ad. Thanks for the ad. Let me know if you need any help. I'm always here. If you like my stories, let me know if you want to see more. So he's like, actually, I was thinking about investing. I'm like, sure. What do you want to invest in? Like, I want to buy some flips. So I was like, okay, let me get some for you. So I know some wholesalers. So I thought, hey, give me all your lists. Whatever you have. I don't care if it's overpriced. Just send it to me all. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to I don't know my shit. So they sent me everything. And I'm like, hey, look, this is what I got for you. And he's like, wow, the other agent that I had was having a hard time finding any. So like, nah, I got you. Don't worry about it. So I sent him the list. He bought like 8 of them.
Dude, so 8 purchases from looking at places that fit the avatar. I call it an avatar. The avatar client that you're looking for. You're basically just saying like Instagram is giving us a massive database of like these are future clients. You're clicking on them, you're friending them, and then you're engaging with them once they do something, add you back, and then you got 8 purchases from that.
Cash deals too.
That's nuts.
So all you have to do is just they're not gonna come to you.
Yeah.
You have to go out and look for them.
So let's off of that. And that's what prospecting is all about. Is you have to go out, you have to look for them, right? If you want like to pay $30,000 a month in Zillow leads and make $40,000 a month, to me that's not a good deal. But if you want to make a lot of money and keep a lot of money, you got to go out there and look for them. But in that instance, you weren't necessarily going out there. You were just sitting on your phone, being like, hey,
were you in your underwear?
He was just like looking through it and saying, this is the avatar client I want, and friending them, right? So I think that's genius.
Yeah.
But let's talk about follow-up, because I think that whether it's networking, whether it's open houses, whether it's Zillow leads, whatever it is, you need to have a killer follow-up system. So follow-up with formal networking is pretty easy because you're going to be there every single week at the same time. However, I know that you have taken all of their information, all of their emails, and thrown them into your database. So they're seeing you in person every week. They're also seeing you online every single week.
And they're seeing me on social media because I friend them too.
Okay.
So it's the same principle, right? Anywhere they turn, they're going to see me.
Yeah.
And even if they don't get on social media for a week, when they do get on, I'm still there, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't go anywhere. I'm always going to be available. And I think like these people that you were friends with, Taylor, that or you kind of just knew who they were from high school, the fact that they kept seeing you all the time, they're like, well, he must be good. Right? Like if you're showing $1 million houses, $10 million houses, they're like, well, he must be selling luxury real estate. He obviously must know what he's doing, even if none of those are your listings and none of those are, right? Like the open houses that we do in the beginning as a new agent, they're not yours, but you're still showing it, right? And the frequency makes people think, man, I mean, he must be pretty good if he's like every week he's showing another house. He's at another place. He has another buyer. Like, but it wasn't a buyer. It was a preview. I was by myself. And I was just showing a house as if I was there. Right?
Yeah.
But then the follow-up becomes like, you could do all of that. And let's say you have people reach out to you. If you're not speed to lead, if you're not responsive, if you don't know what to say to actually get them to either give you more information or talk about what they're looking for or set up the showing, set an appointment, then all of it's for nothing if you have no follow-up.
Yeah.
Well, someone, it was Taylor at the collective, our collective team meeting the other day. It was basically like, if you don't have a follow-up plan, do not go circle prospecting.
Yeah, I said if you don't send a database email, if you're not sending a weekly email, there is no point in you door knocking.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great point.
Because you're going to have a great conversation with them, get their information, and be like, all right, reach out to me when you're ready, and they never will.
Because they're going to forget about you in 2 days.
Well, everyone's got a real estate license.
Everyone knows 10 agents.
Yeah, and so
At least.
I think that's very fair, but our follow-up game as a real estate agent has to be 100 because of that very fact that everyone knows 10 agents, right? Last but not least, anything else on follow-up?
I think you've got so many stories that you've said, Taylor, about like how long you followed up with people, 2-3 years, and they finally do something.
Where we went circle prospecting, you knocked that guy's door and ended up selling his daughter a house.
So yeah, went circle prospecting 2 years ago. There was a sign at the door that said, "Hope you brought wine," And the guy answers the door. I said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I forgot the bottle of wine this time, but I'll bring it back next time."
Great opener.
Just wanted to share the news about your neighbor's house. Not sure if you've had any thoughts of selling or anything, or if you have any questions, I'd love to be a resource for you. I'm curious what my house is worth. Why don't you come over? So I went home. I ran the analysis. I printed it off. I stopped by HEB. I grabbed a bottle of wine. I went to his door. I knocked on his door. I handed him the wine, and I handed him the CMA. I said, "Let me know whenever you're free and you want to talk about this in some detail." Cole and I went by a few days later for the listing appointment. He still hasn't sold his house, but 11 months later, and this was me sending him an updated CMA every other month for the course of a year, picks up the phone, calls me, "Hey, my daughter's looking to buy. It's 5% DR Horton deal." It showed a couple houses, one under contract. I'm still going to sell this guy's house one day. He's not going with anybody else. Yeah. But it all came down to that follow-up over the course of an entire year. And he probably still
sees you every single week in his emails.
Every week in my email. He opens them. I see it. I see that he opens them.
So I think your follow-up game has to be just as good. Like if you're networking and you're pulling contacts, networking, your follow-up game has to be equally as strong. Last thing is mindset, because like for me, just being honest, like if I had to do what Dante loves doing, I would fail miserably because I probably have the worst mindset. Nick knows me very well, so he's like smiling. He knows I would fail very well, or big time, because I would not be great at that pickup game, right? Yeah. Like at that, maybe if I was more familiar with my environment, but you're going into just doesn't matter, wherever I am, I'm prospecting. I want you to talk to that mindset as far as what is your mindset when it comes to networking. If you even consider it networking, it's probably just this is my lifestyle.
You told me, you're the one who told me. I was like, I'm not good with cameras. I'm not good with anything. And what did you tell me at the dinner? You were like,
oh yeah,
just pick up the fucking camera and start recording. And I was like, oh okay, same shit.
Yep.
Get your ass to the bar and just start talking.
That's all you have to do. That's where I'm going.
Yes. Don't let them see you. Don't let them see you sweat. They're not gonna know.
They're not gonna know. Fucking lie. That's what I do. I'm like, how good are you?
You heard it here, people.
How good are you in real estate? Like, oh, I'm a fucking animal. I'm really good. I'll get you the best negotiations. Yeah. And I don't. But
well, you do now.
But no, I do now. No, it's not that I don't. It's the part that I do my best. Obviously, I can't get them everything they want. Hey, I want $100,000 off, but I get them something.
Oh, you're getting them a realistically good deal.
Yeah, but by that time it's too late. They're already signed up with me and everything. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I represent them to the best.
You wouldn't have as much business if you didn't.
Exactly.
But I think that's something that we're going to save for another podcast, which is imposter syndrome, which we've talked about that, and I think that would be a great topic for a podcast. But at the same time, in the very beginning of your real estate career, you struggle with and they're going to be talking about, well, how many homes have you sold? And they might look you up on HAR or whatever. And you're like, hey, don't look at HAR. I'm on a team and they don't let me or whatever. But, you might want to say our team could have used that. But I think 2 years ago we started putting everything under their name. But our thing is that, in the very beginning of my career, I didn't have anything to speak to. So I would go on listing appointments by myself. And I was just like, I hope that they feel sorry for me and just give me.
Were you honest?
I was very honest.
Exactly, that's why you lost it. It's lie.
So my first couple, I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them that this is my first deal, and I'll never forget this. I did not tell her. Her name was. I can't remember right now. I can remember her face, can't remember her name, but she. Midway through the process, going through option period and after option period, she was just like, all right, so you said this is the hardest part. I was like, yeah, the hardest part is behind us. And I didn't know that she had a tax lien on her house, so we weren't going to sell it. But I was like, this is the hardest part. And she was like, is this your first home that you ever sold? I was like, yep.
Yeah, it is. Just be like, no, I've been on a team, but now I'm here.
Well, I leveraged the team's numbers and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, she must have known. I must have given a tell that this was my first deal ever, But
every time you shook her hand, it was
surprisingly, I've only had that question one time.
It was just the other day, right?
Yeah. The question of like how many deals have you done?
Oh man,
I've only had it one time.
Exactly, I didn't know that was so important until one of my clients was like, "Oh, we went through your stuff, and
Well, yeah, experience
technically you
for
suck."
sure.
And
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, shit."
Technically, you suck.
And I was like, "You know what? I'll come back."
No, I only had it one time, and that one time that they asked, I had already done some deals before, so. But I still, whenever I responded, I very quickly, without any hesitation, I was like, "Oh, well, me and my team have done over 650 transactions, so we're pretty good at what we do." And they're like, "Okay," and then they didn't ask how many of those were mine.
Yeah.
And that is the benefit of like being on a team because you can leverage the volume, right, and the transactions that they've done, and then they associate that experience with you and then at the same time, they don't know how it works, but you have a team lead that has the experience that can help you out. And those clients, but mindset. I want to get back to that the mindset. So the mindset that you have going into it, what is that? What does that look like? I mean, what do you think? You're getting ready for the evening. You're thinking about the possibilities and everything that has transpired in your past. When you go out in the evening.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So the deal. I don't know why. I just love a really good deal. That motivates the shit out of me. Not sex, not girls at the time, not going out and finding new girls or finding a new homeboy, none of that. What gets me really excited is the deal. Because once I started doing real estate and I saw my first $1 million transaction, the check that I got from that, like to this day, I'm still like, wow, like I did that and I got that in 1 month.
Yeah.
And back, I'm from Mexico City, so I still don't have my papers. I'm here under DACA. So my parents don't have papers. My dad's a waiter for the same restaurant for over 30 years.
You were telling me that. Yeah.
So we never had anything. And for me to break out that system was to get away from my family, for good, not for the bad ways or doing whatever, but for good. So once I did that, I opened up my eyes to a bigger opportunity. Like I started seeing more Mercedes, more high-end restaurants, more a nice house, all that stuff. And I was like, man, I want that. My mom always told me, no, you can't just go get a regular job, be safe, and hope your kids don't die, and that's it. And I was like, oh, okay. But now to this day, she thinks I'm a drug dealer. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not a drug dealer.
But she knows you lie. So, who knows?
No, exactly. No. And I was like, Mom, I'm not. There's other ways to make money. It's not your fault, even though you taught us everything you could, but it's not your fault.
Man, that chip on your shoulder. I mean, like I know for me, that was a massive motivator to come into success. Was that, and not that our parents. I think that most of the time, our parents, that's all they knew, and that was the American dream. And for us, it was you need to go to college. You need to get a 4 or 5 year degree. You need to do exactly what your grandfather, what I did, and so it was like, these are the expectations to have any sort of relative success, or success being, having a wife, 2.5 kids, and a white picket fence, right? Like that is the definition of security and success. But, for me, I was terrible at college. I was horrible at college and didn't do very good at all. And so I just stopped going and figured something else would have to make sense. And I felt like that chip on my shoulder does drive me, because it's not in a bad way, like I'm proving it to you, Dad, but it is I don't have to go that route. And I think more and more today we're seeing YouTubers, making $11 million a year, or, and their kids reviewing toys. It's like now that course that our parents knew is no longer the majority, accepted route.
There's no rule book to success,
right?
You can do whatever you really want. If you can do anything that's not like, shameful, and you will find success and you will make more money than your dreams if you just have that it factor.
You can also make a lot of money doing shameful
things. You can make really good money doing shameful
yeah.
things.
I wanted to say that.
I have a question though. When you're getting ready and you're hyping yourself up, what do you listen to? What song is on?
Not really songs. Like if you see I'll get on Instagram all the time. So if you see my what do you call it when your pattern of your data that you always see on the same thing?
Your feed,
but it I forgot what's it called, but it has my memory of everything I see during the day, during the week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's all motivation videos. People think it's corny, but I lock and load with that. Like, it gets me hype up. You know those motivation speakers from was that black guy with the no hair?
David
Navy?
Goggins.
Man, that guy right there.
He'll get you ready to run through.
How
I'll jump off
You
this
can't-
fourth floor
yeah,
balcony after
you
listening
can't
to
listen
that.
to David and be like,
so I'm
yeah,
just listening to him like, okay, this fucking deal it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. There's like work. I've seen $1 million listing agents, bruh. They look like shit, and I'm like, if that guy can do it, what am I waiting for? Like, I have all the insights, I have all the connections. Like, why am I not up there yet? And it pisses me off, and I'm like, tomorrow, right now, in an hour, I go in there and I start talking to everybody, yapping up a storm, and I'm talking to the owners. All I talk to is the owners and their friends, because hey, who do you think that might want to buy one day? You're like, oh, that guy over there, you know what? He's the owner, and this is a true story. He's the owner of the Chi hair thingy.
Oh yeah.
You seen him around, right?
Yeah.
That guy. So last time I met him at I was at CL, and he was there, and he's like, hey, ain't you that guy from Gauchos? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. He's like, oh yeah, how you doing? So he felt comfortable because he's like a really private guy, don't touch me kind of guy. He has a security guard next to him, but for some reason he wanted to talk to me because I knew the guy from Gauchos. Yeah. So we started talking. He's like, yeah, I think I want to invest, and I was like, oh shit, this guy's a billionaire. Yeah. With a B. So I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to play like do it right now or hurt, because you don't treat those guys like that because they know what's up. So I got this information, and sure enough, like, I'm working on right now. So I'm trying to get something in the ropes because it's going to happen. And that's what I get excited about. Yeah. That's when I go into anywhere. That's the excitement I get. I'm gonna sell to, my goal is to sell to basketball players, celebrities in Houston and out of Houston, whatever, but it's going to take time for me to get there. Yeah. I have to go through so much people.
Well, and then like his investment, like his like, hey, I want to invest, isn't like $175,000 flip. It's you know, like a $17 million like 300 unit apartment complex.
Exactly.
Like that's a good deal. And I also want to say this is that we are talking and mentioning just because of your sphere, higher end deals, but networking can and does happen all the time, whether it is with people at Outback Steakhouse or Gauchos. You can network wherever you are. So maybe you're a brand new to real estate, or you're within your first 2-3 years of real estate, and you're saying, hey, I need some help in this area, and you have a very outgoing personnel. You can request those conversations. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be intimidated by that caliber of buyer or seller. You can start with right where you're at and start having those conversations, networking, and saying, hey, how can I help you? And I like some of the scripting that you had. Yeah. I know it's not scripting.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's not.
But I would call it scripting because like I'm gonna write those questions down as soon as I'm out of here and start using them.
Yeah. So I'm impatient. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's possible for any kind of market. You can network anywhere you go. Right now, tomorrow, wherever you go to the gas station, you can talk to the owner. Actually, I did something like that. I hate telling my stories like this, but I go to the gas station and I meet a guy, and he was like, "Hey, you're a real estate agent?" Like, yeah. I heard you talking to the other guy. Every time you come here, you talk to the guy. You tell him about real estate. So my uncle, he works there as a manager. My uncle wants to open up a gas station. And I was like, okay, let's see where's this going. So I meet the guy and everything, and he's like, I need you to find me a wore down gas station, ugly, whatever, or abandoned. I want to buy it. Those are not cheap. Yeah. But it's all because I just opened up my mouth about real estate. Everywhere I go is all real estate. And sure enough, we're looking for him for a nice gas station property.
That's awesome.
How many times a week would you say you specifically go out to a restaurant? Because like, I'm going to go meet somebody. Every day.
Yeah, he's
lunch, like, I go to what is that called? Cafe Annie. That's the best. Yeah. That is the best. You drive around River Oaks or Post Oak or anywhere, and even Memorial. You'd be surprised how many Memorial Drive. That's like the high end. There's secret restaurants around that area that nobody knows about, and they're old buildings, ugly buildings. But outside, you have a valet guy with Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in there. So I go in there, sit at the bar, and I'm just like looking. Call me a gold digger, but I'm looking. I'm looking, and I'm finding
that old money.
I know I'm looking for that old money that I can connect with, and boom. And sure enough.
What does your food and liquor budget look like? What's your
Do you
monthly
usually
spend?
get like a full meal, or do you just kind of go in, get a drink, and see if something's gonna happen, and then?
So I don't want to look poor in there. I'm going in there with some high end people, so I order like a nice steak or something like
Okay.
that. Just but when I do go out to like CL or clubs or Clay or anybody like that, I'm buying like some Ace of Spades. It's like
Okay.
$1,000 each bottle, because what I'm buying is not the Ace of Spades. I'm buying the eyes, and that's what I want. I want the wealthy guys to be like, why is he buying? Who is that guy? And sure enough, every time I go out, I meet one or two millionaires by doing stuff like that. And hey, the manager wants to meet you. Okay, cool. Who's the owner here? Like, that guy. Okay, after you, I want to meet that. You help me meet that guy. Perfect. Let's do it. So sure enough, it's a little.
Yeah. I think that, we can probably end it on this, is what you just said, is that I think you just have to have the courage to ask and make the ask. That guy that was, that's listing that $24 million deal, like, you reached out to him and you said, like, hey, like, congrats on your listing, but how did you do it? And I think that too many times, and I don't know what we have to like save, or like what we have, why we're so bashful, sometimes, but like, just ask, like, make the ask. There was a lender the other day that called me and was like, I could tell he was having a hard time, but he called me and he was like, hey, he was like, I follow you on Instagram, I follow you on Facebook. And I was like, hey, I know who you are. And he was like, hey, I'm just going to come out and ask, like, is there any way that we can work together or what? And I was like, well, just, like, yeah, I mean, like, let's go to lunch. Tell me, talk to me about what you have. And he was like, all right, yeah, that sounds good. But he called and he made the ask. And I don't know how long he was, belaboring to do that,
Yeah.
but he finally did it, and now we're gonna have lunch, and maybe I'll throw him a deal or two and see how it goes. But the thing is that I think too many times we fail from the very beginning because we never make the ask.
Of
And
course.
and I think that if I've learned anything today, I need to just shut up and do it. Like, go out there and make those requests,
Man.
make those asks, and you're guaranteeing me that I'm going to have more conversations, which ultimately is going to get us closer to our next transaction.
So if I'm in there, just don't ask nobody. That's my world. Nah, but
Don't go to Gauchos.
I
Don't
don't go to
CL.
Gauchos. Don't go to CL. Don't go to any of that. But
Cafe
yeah.
Annie is mine.
Yeah, trust me, I won't be going to CL. Like, I go there early for dinner, but once it starts getting
Oh,
crazy,
man.
I'm out. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for
you're
joining
welcome,
us.
man.
I knew this was going to be good. We were talking the other night at
man.
Gauchos, your lead generation pool, and I was like, man, this is going to be a good podcast. We need to talk about something that is most of the time overlooked in lead generation, which is networking.
I guarantee this is like $5,000 you'll get for a class, but I don't care. I just give it out because nobody taught me anything. I used to cry in my car because nobody would help me. Deals were falling out. And I was like, man, but power of attraction, I believe in that.
Yeah.
The more you give, the more you receive. So
That's why you're an EXP.
exactly. But like I said, do the work. That's it. Don't take pictures. Expect for the clients to call you. Don't go to events if you're not even have a closing coming up.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that on Instagram. Girls, guys are at events, are at parties, get-togethers, and throwing up and all this party stuff. I'm like, you have one deal, sir. Like,
Yeah.
get to fucking work. Go get this deal. Like, it's hard. This is why you complain to us or everybody else that nothing's coming in real estate, because you're not out there looking for it.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
I agree 100%. Nick, you want to close us out?
Yeah. Thank you so much again for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
Thank you guys for watching to the end of the video. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about networking. And if you have questions about how to do networking better, please reach out to us. We would love to be that resource for you guys and help you close more deals, because that's ultimately what this podcast is about. So thanks for watching to the end, and we'll see you guys on the next one.